Very good. Don't need sound. Good thing we're all joined in mind. We don't need sound. So we start with the light of, thank you for joining us. And we start with the light of infinite being, who we are, our identity, which is infinite light, focusing on the light. And a number of you keep coming back. Yes, when I stay as a light, it's so easy. And then there's the play that says no to divine light. And that's what we're looking at so deeply together, just to see that that no is impossible. And to let Jesus reveal to us, what do we need to look at? We let Jesus completely, we turn everything over. Jesus, show us what new miracles are needed, and not assume anything about which miracles. And then to focus in on what he's saying we need to look at. So is there anyone that's heard from Jesus that they would like, that have a topic for today that they'd like to place on this, in the circle of light, and then hear what Jesus has to say? Anything that's been coming up in awareness? Okay, Heidi.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Heidi. Yes, we can hear you.
Yay. So it's specialness. Specialness is coming up to be looked at. I had joined with you earlier, Kay, in this past week, maybe last week, and we discussed pain, and it's like very intense here lately. The pain it's become increased. It's increased. And so I had listened to joining a light circle that you had where some of this was answered, and it went into specialness. And so I went into that with Jesus, asking about this specialness, and I was actually embarrassed to get on today. So there's embarrassment, and I want to look at specialness, but there's this embarrassment to have to come on again and discuss pain, because I guess what the mind is telling me is that we've discussed this already. And then today I was talking with a mighty, and what Jesus told me was that whether it looks like specialness or guilt or abandonment or, you know, whatever's coming up, it's all the same mistake. So I don't have to be embarrassed to bring it up again. So like the specialness thing and the pain, I need to bring up pain again, and the specialness maybe that's with that.
Oh, it's so beautiful that you have for all of us, because everyone, we're all sitting here going, oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because then we can look, then it's out in the open, and we can just ask Jesus to help us. Jesus, will you help us look at this and show us through you, through as a symbol of the Christ that's here, what Jesus is saying and what he's telling us what to look at around this idea of specialness. So when you go into your heart and listen to Jesus, what does he tell you that the fastest way through this is, to see through this desire?
Well, it was to join, because I was trying to hide it. I was trying to hide this belief that I needed to be embarrassed to bring it up again. The idea of pain.
And do you feel, so do you feel like the experience, the desire for the experience of embarrassment is cleared, or can we go deeper with Jesus on embarrassment and ask him about that, just to clear that desired experience?
Well, I believe that it was kind of cleared by Jesus expressing to me that I don't have to be embarrassed, because whether it's, like I expressed, whether it's pain, whatever's coming up for any of us, it's all the same mistake. So I don't have to be embarrassed to bring up pain again, the again
Okay.
part.
So you feel clear on any desire for an experience of embarrassment. So what other, so we just check in. It's always good to check into Jesus just to see, is there anything else to see there? And then of the things you talked about, do you feel like he's telling you, okay, let's look at pain today, the desire for experience of pain?
Yes, that's the answer. I need to look at this desire for pain.
Okay. So Jesus, will you help us look through these desires and clear the desire for the experience of pain? And we can hear his yes. So when you go in with Jesus to look at pain directly with him, not the pain itself, but the desire, and be with the desire for it, what is he showing you?
I'm drawing blanks. I'm not sure how to get down below that. Let me think of that again. So I'm not looking at the pain itself, but the desire for the pain.
Yes, we can ask him, Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness for this experience of pain, and see what he says.
Yeah, okay, so I've touched on this with Jesus, and it's an unworthiness. There is a deep unworthiness, like I've pulled off the impossible, and so there's so much unworthiness with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just start. Ask Jesus, is this where you want to start? So we're clear. Is it most helpful? Look at it, worthiness. It feels like yes. And just look for the desire. So it's just like one thing that we'll look at a time. The desire for the experience of unworthiness. Does that feel helpful? You can ask him. Feels helpful.
That's helpful.
So Jesus, will you show us and reveal to us that desire for an experience of unworthiness, that wanting of it? Is that below our level of awareness? So when he says yes, we just let it be shown and cleared. It's almost like, well, Renee can describe her experience because she was just looking at some things around sacrifice, right? That arises a lot. And you're just really present with that desire for that experience. Just like, okay, I get it. I want unworthiness. I admit it. It's sort of the admission. Like Janet says, we place the admission in the light of divine being and see what happens to that feeling and the desire for unworthiness. We put that in the light. What happens to it?
I seem to get lost. I seem
So
to
you
get lost when I go looking for that desire.
yes. So I'm not quite sure. You said, so it gets lost or it goes away in the light?
I get lost going to the light with that.
Okay, you get lost or the unworthiness gets lost in the light?
It seems like I get lost because I'm inquiring in the mind and I can't seem to, like, I get lost.
Okay, so we can just take that feeling and you know that you have a desire for it, right? You can feel the desire and you could admit it. Say, Jesus, I really admit this. That's what we all do. We just admit, okay, you're right for the billionth time. Is there any, and we just put that, offer that to Jesus. Say, here you go. I admit it. So you just give it over to Jesus. I admit this unworthiness.
I admit
And
that I have this unworthiness.
we just lay it out on his feet. You're right. And then we ask him, is there anything deeper that you want me to see with unworthiness? You can hear him say yes. And then you just, okay, show me where I still have below my level of awareness this desire to experience unworthiness. Just bring it into my recognition fully, because that's bringing it to the light. We're just raising these desires right into our awareness before they were tucked in somewhere. You let the energy rise up.
So can I express that maybe I can just sit with this for a little bit and we can go on with someone and I can see if something arises for me in that?
You can, or we can just pause and give you time. Because this is for everyone's looking at unworthiness. Look at their heads going up. So yeah, so and see how the idea will come in, the ego will come in and go, oh, I don't, it's this. So just ignore the ego and just go, no, I'm just looking at this with Jesus. We're just going to look as a whole. There's no one looking at it. It's a play in consciousness. That's all.
Well, so I'm going to ask if anyone hears anything, if they can express it for me, because like I said, I seem to get lost in the process. I'm trying to like take it to the light, and it's like I get lost taking it to that light.
So Renee, do you have anything to share about this? She just went into a deep layer with Jesus on something. What would you share on that?
Yeah, it's on sacrifice.
You might need to speak a little louder.
Just on sacrifice, and just allowing him to tell me what I need to look at. And seeing the desire to just asking to see if there's a desire for to block the miracle. And he shows me if that desire is there.
It's really being present with the desire itself. So we're so used to feeling the unworthiness. Can everyone relate to the unworthiness? I feel unworthy. I feel, and so a lot of time spent there. So if we ask Jesus, he's going to show us where the powerhouse is for where it comes from, where that unworthiness comes from. So rather than live in the world of unworthiness, he's showing us the energetic charge underneath it, how much we actually like it and want it. Did you find that in sacrifice when you're looking? You could see it was how it's wanted.
Yeah.
So that's what we're asking him to show us. Show me how this is really I want this experience.
I actually like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say it's something that has played in my awareness since I can remember. Like even as a child, it's just this unworthiness, and it shows up in all these different forms. And apparently, so all I know is that I must desire this, but I seem to be blocked.
That's why we ask.
That.
So sometimes we have to ask Jesus for a miracle, for the willingness to look. And we can just ask him, Jesus, will you help me with a miracle to look at this deeply and simply with you?
I do wish for this miracle, yeah.
And ask him if that's granted. It feels like that's granted, actually, because you do talk to him and have had many conversations with Jesus. And this is just another one of those conversations of the many that you've had with him, to talk to him about, okay, Jesus, how do I look at unworthiness?
So is unworthiness a form of specialness?
Is it? Yes. Anything that's not the light is specialness.
And that's why Jesus said it's all the same mistake.
And so all we're doing is admitting that we want specialness. So instead of feeling the specialness, we just go to Jesus and say, oh my gosh, I want specialness through this unworthiness. I want this unworthiness. I see how I want salvation through unworthiness. That's all we're looking at. So Jesus, will you show me the desire for salvation through unworthiness? And then we just look at it with them. The
And
wanting of it.
so if I'm blocked, like I feel that I'm blocked in this way, then that is the time to ask for the miracle.
Yes, you can ask him for help for a miracle on the belief that you could be blocked from looking with him.
Okay. I
Because
kind of feel complete right now.
You what?
I feel complete for the moment. I do. I just need to sit with some of this now.
Okay. So does anyone else have something that they would like to bring to the light circle to look at? Okay. Hello, Julia.
Yes, hi. Um, I really had this experience, today when we joined to 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 completely, how you say, numb out, and I numb out and I numb in again, and I was so, um, happy to be able to join, and I saw that recently. I know this experience of, going in and out of numbing from many years back, but it's a long time I experienced it, and now it seemed to come again, like in these joinings and another meditation I joined. It's not when I'm meditating alone in the morning, but and I get a lot of, how you say, frustration and anger that is arising with this um, numbing out, because I feel very helpless, but maybe also some desire for control. I don't know what is in this. and I also saw the patterns of, wanting to avoid and wanting to escape, and really not wanting to look, but to distract myself at all times, and then having this belief that I want to look, or I want the love, or I want the truth, and then I distract myself or turn away from it.
Well, it's beautiful that you're sharing this, because until we see it, we're just lost in it. But when we observe it, see that it's not impacting the light. Is any of this impacting infinite light of being here? When we look as light beings, does any of this impact the light? So we start with the light, and then why don't you can ask Jesus, what's most helpful for you to look at?
The word comes like isolation.
Okay. And ask him, will he help us look at this?
Yes.
Okay. So we can just ask Jesus, is there a desire for an experience of isolation below our level of awareness that we can see and look at with you today?
There is a desire for isolation, but I'm also brought straight into this feeling of helplessness, the desire for feeling helpless.
Okay, so we can just we'll just start with one and focus on one at a time till we really get used to this, and then he can help move us along, okay? So let's start with isolation. That desire, the desire for isolation, really gentle, and just notice that feeling. Jesus, can you fully reveal to me the desire for an experience of isolation? I'm willing to see it, the wanting of it. And admitting it. I admit it, I really want it. That's what I find. I tell Renee, it's like, oh, you're so right, Jesus, I really want this. And then we just lay it, give it to him. You know, remember the dump truck, it backs up, and then we just put that isolation feeling in the light. And what happens to it in the light?
It feels like a physical contraction, like straight here in the heart space.
And when you place that in the light, what happens to it?
It softens. It softens, and it expands. You know, the space expands.
So that's all we have to do, is just put the thought in the light and see what happens to it. Ask them if there's anything underneath that that we need to see. What else do we need to see? Do we need to go deeper with that? Isolation? And what does he say?
He says no.
Okay. Then what does he feel we could look at now? Helplessness?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's helplessness or the desire for victimhood. I don't know if you can help me.
But I'm hearing the word helplessness came up here.
Then
So let's just ask him. We can always touch base with him and go, okay, Jesus, I'm not sure about which one of these. So let me ask you, is there still a feeling of and a desire for experience of helplessness that I can look at?
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Will you reveal that desire for helplessness, the wanting of it, where I really want it, so I could admit it? See, when it's pushed down, we don't see how much we want it, and that's what miscreates the experience. That's what the ego doesn't want to look at, and then it creates all this kerfuffling above it, like pain and emotion, and it kind of stirs the pot up there, so we're focused on what's up there instead of what's under it. The desire, like, oh, we want that experience. Relish it. Remember, he says if you relish it, you relish. So we're trying to help him, let him show us where we're relishing it. So we can admit it. Oh, I admit it. I really want that. You'll see right below that is so much happiness when that's released. And we let that denial just rise up into the light. Okay, helplessness, so just take that whole feeling and desire of helplessness and just place it in the light of divine being and see what happens to it.
It's so upside down because just to admit it, I thought I was, how you say, I thought I was a victim of these how you say, feelings, and I thought that being a victim of them, they had to appear in some kind of certain way, or so it's really very upside down, just to, and I'm asking if I'm looping this or if I'm not facing it, because it feels like it.
We can see this is the recovery of divine power right here. Is the emission. See, all the power is in the emission. Just what you're saying, by really looking, you can see how upside down it is, because we think it's something happening to us and we're helpless.
Yes.
And this is showing us, no, we're not helpless. We have divine power to look at this directly with Jesus and see how we're actually powerful enough to desire this, to make it manifest. And to see that we're not powerless. We are powerful beings. Just by thought, we're generating these things. It's a misuse of power, but it's, at least we're seeing it. Before we were just subject to it.
Yes.
And how does it feel to actually see that flip? See it, you're seeing it flip. This
Yes.
is the ship going right side up right here. This is the ship that was upside down, goes.
The feeling is really expanding or soft or something.
Yes.
The mind goes, because this has been my, my belief. So for I think all the time, at least in the spiritual journey, that something terrible will rise and attack me or something like that. And I don't know what needs to be faced or not need to be faced, but this is what the mind is because the feeling is very different. The feeling is not what I'm speaking of with words now. The feeling is very peaceful.
Yes. This is what Jesus wants to show. It's underneath everything. If we just look, you see, it's the resistance to looking that hurts. It's the direct, give it to me, Jesus, goes right to. That's why we have our mighties.
Yes.
Is there anything? Yeah, so it sounds like you're getting a download from Jesus. Do you want to share anything else?
I just want to share my gratitude. I really want to share my gratitude for all of you, and for this space arising in my, how you say, appearing to me, because it's really an upside down shift, and I felt that also today and after the first joining we had. So I'm
This
and
is
I see,
yeah, go ahead.
I see that it's the trust more than the knowing, and I have been holding so much onto the knowing, and then seeing that and I did not even know what trust looked like, and I see I held all these concepts of how it should look and how it is, and I just see them falling away, but and something so completely different is how you say, holding me, or is what I can't even say arising instead, but it's like landing in this, or so
The untrue just falls away when the ship goes right side up, just by seeing where that power broker is. The power of decision. You look directly with Jesus. That's what he's always trying to say to us. Look at me at the decision to say no. Look at it directly and see how the ship goes right side up immediately. Meaning that the whole world's upside down because we think something's happening to us. But when we see we're the power station, and the power, all we have to do is take it to Jesus and admit it. Like, I am the power station. I'm fueling this baby. Then we see how we can take our power right back out of it. We're not hopeless. We're not weak. We're powerful beings. Yes. And the ship
It's
goes, oh, go
it,
ahead, Julia. This is
but
beautiful.
it's like now not understanding, but getting this experience that we can admit and we can look, but without the guilt, because it feels like the guilt had been like holding my hand all along, so it felt like painful doing this, and I wanted to get rid of it, but now I see that actually to admit it, it's so completely guilt-free and very freeing and very innocent actually. And I heard that many times, but it's the feeling of it now. Thank you.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you. It's for everyone. It's the celebration of divine being and acceptance of what it is, of who we are, what we are, as given by God the Father, the Holy Father above, and to cease to deny that we're infinite light beings. That's just gorgeous. And how simple Jesus is making it for us.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for joining with us in this.
Yes.
We need each other, don't we? You can see
Yes,
it.
we do.
Yes, we do. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
it's perfect happiness. Perfect happiness. Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to look at, or you can, it feels complete
Yes.
for now. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Aw, love you.
Yeah, I love you.
Okay. Is there anything else anyone else would like to bring to the holy table? Or any other prompts from Jesus for desires for the whole that we can look at? Okay. Wow, Mary, it won't unmute on my side. Can you try your, oh, there you go. Thank you, beloved.
So what's coming to me is, like Julia was just saying, is deep gratitude for this, if you will, platform for us coming together. And I've got to say that that all of this for me was so guided. Finding you, Dyra posted this, because this is exactly what I was crying out for, like to be honest and cut to the chase and go deeper and deeper, and most of all to bring it directly to Jesus, and then give up control. You know? So I'm just like totally blown away. It's just like perfect. Like, hello, what else? It's perfect. So thank you.
Yeah, there's so much joy in listening, follow, and you see, you can't, there's no way even to do this without your mighties reflecting back, at least for here. Because really, if I hadn't had those mighties, when I started handing out the chapters, it was, you know, and Jesus is saying, okay, this is a whole new way of looking and all those sort of things. Without the mighties, see, coming in and going, where's that next chapter? You know, you wouldn't have gone and continued, do you see? So we need each other so very much, you know, that to be in this light together so very, very much. So my gratitude to all of you for coming, and so we can keep looking together. So thank you, Mary.
Mm.
Okay, here comes Heidi. Okay. Let me see if it sometimes I click on it. Oh, okay. Now I'm muted. Okay, there it goes. I accidentally hit it. It goes back. Okay, here we go.
So, like, I just want to, let's talk about some more on specialness. Can we talk about specialness?
Yes.
That one just keeps rearing up. It's like, talk about specialness. Let's talk about this. Let's go deeper. I feel like I'm just maybe not understanding the process, or I'm getting lost somewhere in it. When I listen to the others, I'm able to follow. But when it comes to myself, I don't know if the ego is trying to hide or what happens, but it's like the process, I go blank. So if you can either just help me, or can we speak about specialness?
Okay. So the ego has so many different ways of playing out. We're really seeing this. That's why it's so good to come together and everyone's like expressing and going, here's what I'm seeing happening. So it's going to display a variety of ways. And so what Jesus has done, he's like distilling it down. So there's the desire for, there's a feeling of specialness, and that displays in anything that's not light. So we start with the light first. Is there light here that we can all recognize? Is the light here? So then it's a play in consciousness to want other. I want an other. And then we demand it of God, okay? So we want to play and have a play like they're others. And we relish it. If you read the course, you can see how he's telling you guys, well, you cherish. He'll use the word, you cherish them. So this is just a group that looks at what we're cherishing directly. I cherish this feeling of specialness, Jesus. I admit it, And as you go with this too, and we're all just, it's all just discovery. Because when we talked, it was, it's just a little practice because we're so used to being in the emotion itself or the pain. We're so much living in it, right? You know how you almost live in it? It like takes you over because of that belief and the desire to have something take us over. We want it. We want something to take us over. We want pain. See, so now it's just a matter of going, all right, Jesus, I am willing to see with you. Let's just ask him, do you want us to look at specialness? I hear yes. Okay, show me the desire for specialness. I'm willing to look and see how much I want it. So when you ask him, does he tell you want specialness?
Well, so what comes up for me is that it's below my awareness, that this desire is below my awareness. So I haven't even been able to touch the desire for it, like even get in touch with the fact that I desire it.
Well, that's why it's helpful to have Jesus tell you do. That's why we ask
I do, and it's like the mind saying, no, I couldn't possibly want or desire pain. That's insane. It's like, no.
That's perfect. Do you see? Because we all get to see this play. We just saw how it works. You see how it goes to try to cover over? So we all see it because we're living with this every day as long as we believe that's true and follow that one. So we just stay on. So the mind's going to do all its stuff up here. So we're going to ignore that. No, I want it, but now we see the layers. So Jesus is trying to take us to pure desire, the wanting of specialness. So we just say, okay, Jesus, I admit all we need is for him to tell us, Jesus, is there the desire for specialness? And am I willing to admit I want specialness? That's all it is. When he tells you, does he tell you there's specialness below your level of awareness?
I'm hearing it, and it logically it says it's specialness, but the feeling, I can't touch the feeling of that desire of it, like
Well,
walking.
all you have to do, this is a great discussion for the distinctions, right? So we don't have to do anything. We just ask Jesus, will you reveal to me that desire so it comes fully in my awareness? Do you feel willing to have him show you it?
I want to be willing. Yes, I am willing
Okay.
to see this.
So just sit with him and go, Jesus, just show me this. We're the light, and so we're just going to see what it looks like. We're the last mimsy. We're just exploring and just going, okay, show me what that desire looks like. I'm interested to just see what desire is like. To bring it into my awareness, because I was pretending I didn't know it was my desire. But now I don't want to pretend. I'll look at it. And it's just admitting how much we really want it.
Like my mind is telling me I don't want it.
You don't want what?
I don't want the pain anymore. I don't want it. I don't.
Yes.
I desire. I don't. I no longer desire this.
It
pain.
doesn't appear unless it's desired. So that's why we have to admit we do desire it.
That's the whole point. That's where I'm. That's where I'm not connecting.
Yeah. It's really going below the pain and going,
Like my
Jesus, what?
knowledgeably, I say, intellectually, it says I desire it.
No,
I desire
it's
But-
flipped. It's flipped. Because the ego never admits it desires anything.
Okay, so that's
Ego
what
won't
I'm
admit the
experiencing
desire.
the ego. Then I'm experiencing the ego because it's
So
saying
come-
no, I wouldn't desire it.
Right, there you go. You just caught it. That's it right there going, I wouldn't desire that, but just ignore that and just go to Jesus and say, Jesus, do I desire this? Ask Jesus. And if he says yes, then admit it. Say, then I admit it. I do want it. Like that.
Well, I
Just-
do admit it. I admit that I want this specialness.
And just be present with that. We're all just present. Okay, I admit it. And just place the whole desire thing in the light. Ask Jesus if it's, I hear him say, go for a miracle on that. That's what can I have a miracle on this desire, this wanting of specialness?
I would wholly desire a miracle on this.
And in the light of divine being and honesty of God, does specialness exist in truth in the light? Does the light know what's special? So we can see now the only way to experience specialness, because we're light, the only way to experience it is to try to say no to the light, and then we get specialness. Jesus, is there any desire below my level of awareness to say no to light?
I say there's a yes there.
Yes, you hear the yes?
Yeah.
And then you just say, okay, Jesus, I admit it, and show me what you need to show me around this. And you'd see how light it is. It gets lighter and lighter. At first, the ego just kind of blocks. You can ignore it and just go to the desire. That's it. That's the whole gig. Admitting desire. I do want this. Oh, I want that. Oh my gosh. It'll just seem like a rainstorm of desire for a while. But that's why we're holding each other up, you see, to remind each other, okay, let's just look at the desire together. We're going together. We're taking our little spaceship together to go look at the asteroids in the belt to see, let Jesus show them they do not exist at the level of desire. Dun, dun, dun. Is there anything else? Because I know we talked and you've spoken to Jesus many times, Heidi. Is there anything else that he's telling us we could look at today? Because it's for the whole. It's not personal.
Well, I really can't think of anything at this point
Okay.
other than the death wish. It just seems like it's all about the death wish, and I just need to flip it and take it all to the light because I've chosen the death wish. And that's
Okay,
why
let's all look at the death wish. This is for everybody. How many people? Let's write. Who's noticed a death wish? Hi. And Christy's back there. She probably. But if we don't see it, do you see? If we don't see the wish, see the word wish in it, which is the same as desire, which is the same as wanting. See how we want it. So now now see if we admit it, we can laugh about it. Because when we go, look, light of divine being, is there anything that can die? And look in the light. Let's hunt around in there and see if anything dies. Okay. All right. So we can laugh. And then we go, okay, Jesus, will you show me the desire for the death, the wish for death, for the experience of death, and just be present with it. Nobody's going to blow up. We're going to all still be here. So, okay, show me the desire for the experience of death. I want to see it. Look at it directly. See if it's so bad. Like, is there a desire of a lower level of awareness for the experience of death? And ask. Then admit it. It's like, I want it, Jesus. Like, I wanted death really badly. And then we just look at it with them and go, oh, you're so right. Oh my gosh, I just want to die all the time. It's to die to the light. See, we're trying to shut the light out. Look, at the same time, we can see there's no light. This is why it gets really hilarious, right? We see there's light. There's nothing other than light in truth when we look. And then we're going, wait a minute, here's this little boat pedaling going, I want to experience death over here. So all we do is we just go, okay, Jesus, show me the desire for death. So let's go deep on that death. I'm asking him, he's saying, go deep on that death wish together. That's what we're here for. Let's go right to who talks about the death wish. Okay, Jesus, I'm willing to see the desire for the death wish. He's going, okay, show it to me, the wanting of it, how badly I want that experience of death. Any little smidgen of wanting, I want to see it. Okay, and then we admit it. We admit it. We just admit we want it. And then ask him again, Jesus, will you show me that desire for that death wish? I'm willing to see it. He said that's a desire for two. That's the death wish is two. Ask him. The wanting of two is the death wish. And just feel that, you know, he start to laugh when he's right. Okay, I'm willing to see that desire, that energetic investment in two. And just let the smoke clear and put that tension, put in the light. A divine being, can it survive in the light of divine being? Is this true that it's possible to die in the light of divine being? Then ask him again, Jesus, is there anything I need to see more about this desire for a death experience? You might have to go 30 times on it. Just go as many times as he tells you. He'll take it down. How many times do you think cycles we have, on sacrifice? There are good 20 cycles at least. It's okay. See, just go until he tells you you're toasted. Until you're done. And then, and you can ask him, is this time for a miracle? If you watch Marguerite's video, the most recent one, I think I put it up there, you'll see it. She's doing this. It's a good example of the cycling. She down. No, knows stones buried of desire. We still want that experience. And to really get the desire cleared out of there, so we're really accepting the miracle in its fullness. Otherwise, we got a little secret compartment, a little secret compartment that's holding on to the death wish. Okay, Jesus, is there any more that we need to see around the death wish? Are you hearing anything, Heidi, from Jesus on it?
Just basically all that you've said, that when I'm in hell, I've made a choice for death. I guess what came to me was that, like, this body that I'm in, that I believe I'm in, and the pain, I can choose hell when I'm in pain, or I can choose, which is the death wish. I can choose hell when I'm in pain, or I can choose to be with the light. And it may not mean that the pain goes away. It just means that, that I'm going to be given the light, like a hand to hold, by choosing with the Holy Spirit, with the light. And that's choosing life.
So here's just a distinction for that, okay? And that is, if the desire for the pain is looked at directly, the pain cannot remain. So it's looking directly with Jesus. Remember, he said, I will reveal to you that's why he's pointing to specialness, because the ego uses all these things, pain and suffering, for an experience of specialness. That's why he's pointing to that. So all we have to do is just sit down with Jesus and say, okay, show me what's underneath this pain. How am I using this pain to try to get salvation in form? If there's a belief that pain in any form is salvation, then it remains. So if we ask him, Jesus, reveal to me the underlying, what's generating this pain. And so he's pointing for specialness. Then we look at specialness and just keep going with specialness. And then, okay, Jesus, what else is underneath this pain? Pain is trying to prove death is real, that there's a body. And this is so good to look at, because this is where, especially when you start, this is a really good thing, because when you start really looking at it and starting to go deep, it's like I noticed, I was getting headaches and nausea and all these other things, because there's such a strong belief that something's happening to a body that it's like I could see that. And I could see it when I was starting Course in Miracles, all these physical symptoms were coming up, but I didn't realize it was because they were coming up for me to see. I thought something was happening to me that I had no control over, until I really started looking. Oh, I could see there was a desire. Now I can see it. He's interpreting, desire for helplessness, desire for the belief that that was the way to get someone to take care of me, because I thought no one would take care of me. So you can see the way that it plays. So on any experience, you can just go, and I have a video, I've mentioned it before, but you can find it on the website, where I work with him like the most splitting headache imaginable to help me find And you have to be persistent too, really persistent, because we are in such a habit of believing something's happening to us. And to just keep working with them at the level of desire. Show me the desire for this pain. And I could start to see it. Stub my toe. It's like, oh, I do want this. Oh my gosh, I did want this. See? But then like Julie is saying, the ship flips. Then you go, oh, I do have power over this. That I've abdicated my power. That's why it's showing up. But when I take the power back and not invest in the desire anymore, I can't stand in the light. But it's like a little training wheel, a little practice. Because the ego is gonna, like I've said, it wants to take a holiday as soon as you start. I think I need to go to the Bahamas right now, and not look, especially when it comes to physical pain. So we can just keep joining on it, because this is for everyone to see. He's promising we can totally see through pain with them. And there's no being that walks this earth that hasn't had some form of physical pain. So we just keep looking together and joining and going, okay, I'm willing to see what's underneath this. I'm willing to see how this is a miscreation in the mind. So we don't have to feel. Oh, go ahead, Heidi.
I was just going to say, Jesus is explaining to me that this is what he meant by every mistake is the same, whether it's the desire for specialness, or it's the desire for pain, or it's the desire for worthlessness. It's all the same mistake. It's just choosing that death wish. And it shows up in different form. And for me, it shows up in physical pain.
And so what is he saying most helpful for looking?
Just to keep joining with you all, and not to be embarrassed to say I'm in pain again, to look at it again. Like I did, that was the biggest thing, was the embarrassment to have to keep coming back and saying, I desire pain again.
We're glad you came. I think everyone here is willing to jump on a call, on any call from any being here. We can just see how joyful it is, how happy that release of the desire is, and how powerful it is to be together on it and listen to Jesus. And that we don't have, this isn't something that's automatic. It was so assumed in consciousness that this is something that every being has to experience. And we're just saying no. And it's all kinds of pains. It's emotional pain. The tiniest twitch, he said, he's going, we can ask the light. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, do we need to experience a single twitch? So yeah, we're so glad you've jumped on this call, Heidi. It's really fantastic. It's really fantastic also to hear you speak Jesus. It's your function.
Grateful to be here. Thank you.
It's the function of the beings. If we're called together, the practicing again, he's reminding me how the listen to his voice, speak, listen to his voice, speak, and really hearing them together for ourselves, because there's no one out there. It's just, we're practicing divine expression through this and hearing his voice. Yeah, so thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Is there anything else that we'd like to cover today? I know Christy's back there. Did you have anything? Do you feel pretty clear now?
I'm clear right
She
now.
feels clear right now. Okay. And that's, hey, however it appears. So thank you for joining. Do we feel complete? Everybody feel complete then? We check in with everyone to feel it feels clear for everyone. Okay, we love you from San Juan Costa. Thank you for jumping on the spontaneous call.